for President Trump. But after digesting all 448 pages, we realize there is one glaring omission: any mention of Trump's finances. 3 Democratic investigations are now picking up the money trail that Mueller left behind, digging deep into Trump's taxes and business dealings, including with Deutsche Bank. My panel is back with me, Danny. So we look into all of this. What are these House Democrats going to learn from looking after his money right now?
Recall that Mueller's mandate was very narrow, and that's why you saw about a dozen cases, many of which we don't even know about yet, that were farmed out, referred out to other U.S. attorneys' offices, including, for example, the Southern District of New York. Mueller wisely knew that there would be attacks on any prosecutions that appeared to be outside of his mandate, and Exhibit A to that is Manafort's attempt to throw out his prosecution as beyond the original mandate of Mueller. So Mueller was right in predicting that something like getting into Trump's finances, which seems far afield of Russian collusion and obstruction of justice, was not a tactically wise thing to do, which is why he sent it outside. And he was prescient, because that's exactly what Paul Manafort tried to do. He failed, but he certainly tried and mounted a considerable legal argument that his prosecution was outside of the mandate.
And Fresh, as you know, the president said that if you get to his finances, that would be the red line there. Clearly, based on the Mueller report, Mueller didn't necessarily follow that as much. But why did he say that, and why is that still the case?
Well, he's not going to be able to control at this point what other people investigate, whether that's in New York or in Virginia. I mean, yeah, it's out of his control if it's not the special counsel. He can't fire them too. So I don't think he's going to have a choice. And I think what's been really interesting about this is that the White House hired a press person to handle the Congress and all these investigations earlier this year. And so that really showed that their realization how important not just the Mueller report was going to be, but the congressional investigations, the Southern District of New York, and having someone who is able to answer questions specifically about this issue.
And Kenneth, go ahead.
I would just say that we don't know for a fact that Robert Mueller did not investigate Donald Trump's finances, particularly any connections to Russia. We just know that it's not in the report. But there's a lot that's not in the report on the counterintelligence vein, which is the question of, is Donald Trump or anyone around him compromised by a foreign adversary, Russia? That may not be illegal, but it's certainly something that we think the FBI is continuing to pursue. I reported on Friday that the counterintelligence investigation is continuing, and it's certainly something that House Democrats and Adam Schiff have said they are going after. They're subpoenaing Deutsche Bank, the bank that loaned Trump all the money.
Let me follow up on that really quickly. The counterintelligence investigation, if that is still ongoing, and say the president is the subject of that counterintelligence investigation.
That's an open question. We don't know.
If he is, would it be placed in the Mueller report, redacted or unredacted? If there's somebody, if you're investigating.
It's a curious decision that they made to leave that out entirely after Andrew McCabe said publicly, we opened a counterintelligence investigation into the president. And I surmise that the reason they left it out is it's classified, it's ongoing, it's been farmed out. And it has to do, it's not just focusing on Trump and the people around him, but also on the Russians and what they're continuing to try to do to interfere in our politics. And often with counterintelligence investigations, they don't result in criminal charges. The remedy is mitigation. You know, if someone is compromised, their security clearance can be revoked. They can be fired. But you can't do that with the President of the United States. That's the dilemma here. And it's really unclear how the FBI, which works for the President, is going to make sure that the President and the people around him aren't influenced in some way by Russia.
Especially when they've gotten this message so clearly from all the information that's come out, both with the previous reporting and everything that came out in the Mueller investigation. If there's any clearer message from the top, it's loyalty, right? It's stick with me and it's loyalty. And I feel like Republicans in particular are acting like there's no mandate on Congress right now to be investigating. There is. We just had an election.
And look at this message. Look at this message from the top radio. Ken, the president must be listening to you. Here's his Christmas or Easter message here. Despite no collusion, he just tweeted this moments ago. No obstruction. The radical left Democrats do not want to go. It's the same lines. You get it. This will cost the Dems big time in 2020. What do you make of this?
Well, look, he clearly understands that Congress is not going to rest here. These investigations are not over. And then, as Danny said, there are all these other criminal investigations that have been farmed out, including ones that we know implicate people around the president in the Southern District of New York. So it's not over for him.
SDNY still a threat?
Oh, 100%. I mean,
Okay.
Absolutely. And state authorities, too. That is an area that he cannot pardon himself. And I should add a rather ominous thought that a lawyer advising him might suggest that now, when you have the cleanest bill of health possible, now may be the time to try that self-pardon out and see if it sticks. Scary thought.
All right.
Scary
With
thought.
18 months to go before the election, that'd be interesting. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
really
Andrew.
appreciate it.
Thank
The
you.
panel for this hour, Francesca Chambers, Candelanian, as well as Emily Tisch Sussman and Danny Savalas. Enjoy the rest of the day. Coming up, the impeachment argument. With the Mueller report released, will Congress act, or will they punt the issue to voters in 18 months? Plus, Donald Trump spin. His team blankets the airwaves. We'll have what they're saying next.